You're listening to a Destiny Park Media podcast. The Anime Wallpaper website was something that was part of my, I don't want to say childhood. Well, yeah, childhood.
Yeah. It's like our adolescent time period, like right when you could we were using the computer a lot in our 12, even a little bit before teen years, getting used to it and stuff. And then once we had ownership of the desktop and our parents really weren't, it was something that they bought and they never, or at least in my family, it was for me and my sister. It wasn't really.
It's a family computer.
Yeah, quote unquote family computer. It's a family computer. It really turned into my computer because I'm the oldest.
Yes.
So everybody, you got to go through me to get to.
She had to fight you off.
Right. Can I get on the computer? I'm yeah, if I'm not using it.
I got my appointments here. I got a game tonight.
Yeah, I'm playing some games, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't watching YouTube. YouTube was a way later thing.
Yeah. The way you would work around that is to start using the computer, your shift would start at 8 p.m. or so, and then go until 3 a.m.
Yep. Yeah, late. Ooh,
get some sleep.
Yeah.
3 hours or so. Go to school.
So here's the schedule. Here's the teen schedule. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
This is how this ties into anime as well. So this is the teen schedule. No. Yeah. So so I got my computer, right. So I do school. Mm-hmm. I come back from school. I'm probably. And you know what? I come back from school, I think I'm gaming. I'm probably playing some emulator on my PC or whatever. I'm playing Marvel vs. Capcom or something.
Sweet. Playing
that for a few hours online, fucking button mashing. Just mashing. Because back then, I loved fighters, but I didn't go to the next level of let me learn this game. I was just I know some of these buttons do specials and I know how to do basic shoryukens and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know about combos really and how to really execute exactly what I want to do. So I'm kind of in that weird in between. Anyway, so I do that. That's for a few hours. I'm sure TV's mixed in there. But then
did it drop your inputs ever?
Look at the input. Didn't even come out. It didn't even come out.
That's not what I pushed. What the fuck? Sorry.
Didn't come out, man. There's a lot of that though. A lot of that type of complaining and that happened a lot as a teen. So you're doing that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I wish you were streaming that.
That would have been great.
Oh, yeah.
We were God, this guy's a friggin' masher.
He's spamming. What the hell?
Spamming the shit out of these buttons. So you're doing that for a few hours, and then once we get to the evening, it's Toonami.
There's a name I haven't heard in years.
Yeah, you're doing Toonami on the Cartoon Network channel. So you're doing Toonami, you're doing Dragon Ball Z, you're doing Cowboy Bebop was a heavy rotation.
Mm-hmm. Inuyasha was part of that.
Yep, Inuyasha was in there. You're doing Trigun is in there sometimes. And then you're doing some deep cuts Big O.
Mm-hmm.
You know about Big O?
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's up your... in a wheelhouse, that you occupy as far as
it's more of a lighthouse. A lighthouse of good taste.
A lighthouse of great taste. Welcome, everybody.
My name's Akira.
My name is Slide.
This is the Akira Slide podcast. This may be the first episode where we have too much to talk about.
Yeah.
I got a list here of these could all be their own episode if we wanted to.
They really could.
One of them is Popular Demand.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain album that people have actually been requesting we talk about for many years.
Yeah. And I think it is...
Hajime no Ippo.
What's the acronym for the... for original music? BGM. I
listened to the score for Hajime no Ippo separately from the series for the first time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, while I was driving.
Nice.
And it did pump me up while I was driving, and I'm I can see why Jallah puts this on during his games.
Yeah. So when I'm playing Street Fighter, I'm playing as a boxing character, and when I was deep in Ippo land, I wanted that music to like, I wanted to associate with it because I was hearing it in my head anyway while I was playing. So I was like, I'm just going to start playing it. But you should start, well, maybe you should start using it on the runs. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you run with headphones though.
I don't.
Okay,
no.
That's not your thing.
Well, it's not even that it's not my thing. It's that I don't have like the cordless headphones.
Oh, sure.
I've never had those. This is a iPhone 8 Plus, so it's like I feel like getting accessories for something that I'm going to upgrade essentially.
Understood.
Really soon.
Yeah,
probably.
Understood.
But anyway,
yeah.
The album that we've been requested to talk about is Pet Sounds, which it's up there as one of my goats, one of my top fives.
The Beach Boys.
Actually, probably my favorite album of all time.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? We talk music a lot, and I know you love Prince as well. Mm-hmm. Where does... I don't think I've ever asked you what your favorite album of his is, and then what if that falls into your top 5 at all, because those are two separate conversations.
Yeah. Well, Prince, huh?
Yeah, and I know I'm jumping from Beach Boys to Prince, but you mentioned this being number 1.
Yeah,
and then I'm thinking, okay, I know you're a big Prince guy. Where does Prince land in the top 5, or he's just kind of like an artist that you respect and love?
Oh no, he's very much in the top 5.
Okay,
he's in the top 2 or 3 depending on the day.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just thinking here. I'm like trying to figure out whether I want to say like my current favorite by Prince or
sure
like the one that was my favorite for most of my life.
Go with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is a strange pick, but Love Sexy, which is from 1988.
Okay.
It has like Alphabet Street. That would be one of the recognizable tunes on there.
Okay. This is a Prince album.
Yeah, Prince. No Revolution. Just him.
Just Prince, yeah.
Yeah. But the band that he did have for that era and that tour is one of his greatest. And it was a interesting album because it came after he canceled the Black Album, which was supposed to be a harder-edged dark funk record.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And he canceled it like within weeks of it being shipped to stores. Like some stores actually did get it.
Wow.
Yeah. So Warner Brothers had to like call stores and say you can't sell that.
Did Prince was Prince's call to cancel it?
Yeah, it was his call.
So he was kind of swinging around back then, like, yo, I don't want it out.
And there's rumors that he took
ecstasy and
had a bad trip related to the Black Album. And
I see.
Yeah, he's like, I can't put this evil album out.
He feels the sonics are probably, you know, the frequencies people talk about, like dark frequencies and light frequencies. Yeah. Maybe there was a lot of that in there. He was just like, no.
It's a fun album. The Black Album is fun. If I were to try to psychoanalyze Prince, which I could never do, no. I would think he was more worried about it not being an essential album.
I see.
And being like after the Sign of the Times record, which have you heard that one?
Yeah.
Okay. That would be like my current favorite Sign of the Times.
Yeah, my daughter likes a couple songs on there. So
yeah, that is actually is part of a project that used to be Crystal Ball, which was a 3 CD album. And the craziest thing about the 3 CD version is that it may have been even better than the 2 CD version.
Wow, okay.
Because he was just in a creative hot streak, and there was stuff that he worked on with the Revolution that was really fantastic that was part of the 3 CD version.
Okay.
Crystal Ball is for example, a 10-minute track that is about the end of the world.
Oh, I gotta listen to that.
And it's like a mix of funk, rock, symphonic.
Okay, I gotta listen to that.
Yeah.
I like a long record. I don't know why. I'm weird like that. Like if you can really give me something that's like to really chew on for that long, like, you know, good enough that I can chew on it for that long, that's really good.
It's rare though. A double album can be if in terms of a flop or a flip, it can sometimes be a flop.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's been like that a lot for a lot of artists.
I think it's just what separates the goats from the not goats, you know.
Yeah, man, because you gotta be able to put your cards on the table enough to do a double album. I think, and you have to it's a decision that's made. Because anybody could do one, but not everybody does them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
And also, you have to put in the work to put out your best stuff and be honest with yourself and go, is this filler? Like, is
this filler? Is a great question.
It's you know, if you're putting out a double album, that's potentially almost 3 hours of music, and there's diminishing returns when you're like doing the same style of music over and over. So you have to be diverse. And, no, I think you got to open yourself up to a lot of feedback if you're doing 3 hours of music, because you could get lost in the sauce. And, Prince has done a 3 CD album that is not as good. It's called Emancipation.
Okay.
Came out in 1996. He was freed from Warner Brothers.
Nice.
He wrote Slave on his cheek.
Ooh, yes, the slave era.
Yeah, and
Prince was on some shit back in the day.
Yeah, but anyway, who has never done a double album? What's your favorite Prince album before we get back to Brian Wilson and his little friends?
his little compadres.
The boys.
The boys. There you go.
My boys.
So I probably would not be the person to ask best Prince album, because Prince's catalog is so big that I have not discovered or listened to everything that he's done. So I have like a really like poppy popcorn answer, which would probably just be what's the joint? Purple Rain. The Purple Rain album is great, but the album before that, which I believe is.
I'm showing great restraint, not
No, you should, because
1999.
Thank you. I knew it was 1999 because that song was. Yep. That album's really good too. And I do like Sign of the Times. I've been listening to more of that.
You know what's funny? 1999 is also a double album, but it was a double vinyl, and there was enough music space on CDs where the record label just put it out as one CD. But back in the day, it came out as a double album. People were like, what the hell? This artist has only put out a few albums and it's a double? And 1999 is up there for me as well.
Yeah.
That's a great album.
Yeah, I like 1999.
I had a friend text me and go, why are all the songs so long on 1999? And I'm like, bro.
He's rocking out.
He's funking.
Yeah.
It's just dance.
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a vibe album. And I actually liked... newer record, or it was new like 10, 15 years ago. It's not new anymore, but which was probably, I had that. I don't want to stumble around, but in the like mid 2000s, he released an album that had like a pretty popular, funky. Single. There's
one that I'm hoping you're going to say, and then we can jam on that.
Yeah.
And there's another one that I'm hoping you're not going to say.
It's because there was 2 albums around that time.
No, it's like the mid 2000s.
Yep.
And that was his comeback era. That's actually I got into him in the comeback era.
Okay. Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it is.
I think I can guess what song you were.
Is it 3121?
3121. That's the one I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's definitely.
And the song I think you're talking about is Black Sweat.
Yep. Yeah, Black Sweat's good. I do like the song Musicology too. That was a few albums before. Or that
one
was,
album.
Yeah. It was. Excuse me. It was 2 years before that.
Yeah.
Musicology is cool. The song.
One of his first 2-year hiatuses.
Yeah.
He rarely would do more than 1 year between albums.
This is crazy. I can't believe he put out this many albums.
Yeah. A lot of them are great. And a lot of the stuff after the 80s is great. That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
But he loses the casuals.
Yeah.
By doing some more like... He's one of those artists where I never believe he stopped being a genius.
No, he just keeps creating.
He just went on different trips.
Yes,
different wavelengths.
Exactly.
And you could be a genius and also slip up and make stuff that is, in some people's opinions, not so good, Al.
It's trial and error.
Yeah.
As a true artiste, it's trial and error.
And sometimes you don't know which one is the error.
Right.
And it's subjective, and music is subjective. And but
yep.
I will say, who never slipped up is the Beach Boys.
They never had it done. I'm going to refer to you as the...
to me.
By the way, That song was a big record when I was little, because I think it came back around again in the 90s for some reason.
No, dude, that's when it came out.
Oh, it did come out in the 90s, and that's why it resonated, because I was like hearing that record.
Late 80s, but...
Late 80s, yeah. And then
you know who brought it back?
Who was it?
Kermit the Frog.
Yes, thank you.
There was a Muppets performance where Kermit the Frog was singing it.
Yep.
And as a kid, I'm like, this is a Muppets song.
Yeah.
And then the Beach Boys must have died inside every time a little kid thought it was a Muppets song.
As an adult, I feel like you should understand the connection there and like love that people still can identify with you. Didn't they have a music video with the Muppets that they sang the song with them? I swear.
No, you're thinking of Weezer, who did Keep Fishin' with the Muppets.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and that's one of the best music videos of all time.
I swear,
Miss Piggy captured Pat Wilson, the drummer, and said, "Admit it, Patrick, you cannot resist me." And he goes, "No, at the moment I cannot."
At the moment I cannot.
No, not at the moment I cannot. Yeah. And, I feel bad for the Beach Boys fans listening to this, because so far I've tried to bring it to the Beach Boys, and you go,
"What's up with Prince?
What do you think about Prince?" And then I go, all right, we've had some fun. Let's bring it back. And then you go, Weezer, man.
Is Michael black, or what's going on?
Which Michael?
Yeah, which Michael? Which is the black one? You keep bringing up Prince?
It's Michael Black.
It's Michael. Good times.
I thought you were talking about Michael Jackson for a second.
That too. That's like a double entendre.
Whenever you say
that's
Michael,
a double entendre.
You usually are talking about Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pet Sounds. This came up. But it's funny because you're bringing up like some of my favorite artists besides the Beach Boys.
That's true.
So I still stay engaged, but
yeah, I'm actually putting them in company with the greats.
Yeah.
Because you put them on that shelf, you said this is number one.
This is on most days. If you catch me on the street and you're like Billy on the Street style, you have a microphone and say, "What's your favorite album?"
Boom.
I would say Pet Sounds.
I love that. You have a go-to answer for that question.
Mm-hmm. And Pet Sounds came out in 1966, and it actually just celebrated its 59th anniversary, I believe. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Somebody do the math.
76, 86, 96, 2006, 2016. Yeah, it's going to be 60 years.
Nice.
Fuck.
It's crazy.
That is really crazy.
60 years is nuts, yeah.
I remember it felt nuts when it was 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was a much younger man back then when they did the 50-year anniversary tour for Pet Sounds.
50-year anniversary. Did you see that?
No. Okay. Oh, wait. Yes, I did. Brian Wilson did a tour. So
nice.
I'm going to introduce this new segment we're doing, which is where one of us brings up one of our favorite albums and introduces it to the compadre, the little friend.
Yes.
And
you're going to diatribe about it.
I thought you were saying you're going to die.
I'm going to die.
You're going to die. Okay.
I'm going to die about it.
And I think you can ask me questions about the album.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have questions.
I'll ask you some questions about how you felt about it. I have some history because I did some research, and also I've been researching the album my whole life.
Yeah.
So came out in 1966, and this is an album that has a tremendous reputation. It inspired so many artists.
Yeah.
It's a beacon of hope for like sharing your soul with the world. This is all fact. You know, I'm not even getting into subjective yet.
No hyperbole.
The Beatles heard this album and it directly influenced Sgt. Pepper, which changed rock history. And it's a sensitive, caring, optimistic, sad, human record. The way it came about is the Beach Boys were on tour in 1965.
Okay.
And Brian Wilson was on a plane, and he had a nervous breakdown because he was the leader of the band. He was writing the most songs. Actually, he was just writing all the tracks back then. Capitol Records wanted them to put out 2 or 3 or 4 albums a year if they could. Yeah. And he wanted to make great music. He wanted to make great harmonies. He would have the boys stand around the microphone and he had ears like a dog that Mike Love would say he had ears like a dog. Mike Love is his cousin.
Yeah.
The band was Mike Love, cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Al Jardine, a friend from school. They used to play football together.
Cool.
And then his younger brother, Dennis.
Yep.
And his younger brother, Carl.
Yep. Okay.
So they have what can only be described as ethereal, otherworldly harmonies that only siblings can have. I usually get scientific with my opinions, but
I like it.
That's one where I truly believe that family, when they sing together, you can't beat it.
There's a genetic thing.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Jacksons.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, and the struggle of being a leader, Brian Wilson felt that, just like Michael did.
Yep.
They also had a difficult father, Murray Wilson, and they owe their success to him in many ways. But success can crush people.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like brought upon them when they were young. You know?
Yeah.
How the band formed was their parents, Al Jardine's parents were out of town and he was house sitting for them. And Dennis Wilson was talking about like surfing. So he knew about all these surf terms. And someone got the idea to do a composition called Surfin'. And it's very, very primitive stuff. Like, I think it's probably even more primitive than like every song that came after that one, where the chorus is "Surfing is the only way, the only life for me now. Surfing, bomb, 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 and Brian Wilson, he actually submitted that to school for like his composition homework for music class.
Oh, that's fun.
The teacher gave it an F.
What?
Yeah.
This song sucks.
And, I could see what the guy's saying, but, all kidding aside, he got like a retroactive A from the school, like
after the fact.
Yeah, decades later. And that professor actually went to a Beach Boys concert and like they were interviewing him and he was like, I gave Brian an F for the song Surfin', but he sure showed me something like that. And he was like a great sport.
They always come back around. Like, he got me.
He got me. Listen, it was just my opinion, bro.
Yeah, that's all.
But so Brian Wilson is well known as a mental health icon, and
that's interesting. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, so he had this mental breakdown on the plane, and his family and his cousin. Well, sorry, take two.
Yeah.
His brothers and his cousin and Al Jardine, they didn't know what to do about it. They're like, what the hell? And he came out of it and he stayed with his mom for a bit. And he said, I can't do all this. I can't do everything at once.
Okay.
What I want you to do is you guys go on the road. You will perform. I will stay back and I will create amazing records. Yep. So that is what sets the stage for how this could have happened.
Okay.
Because this is an album that took months to create overall.
Okay.
Another musical icon. Oh, you want to know why he's a mental health icon?
Yeah.
Because he is able to, and he's not the main lyricist of most Beach Boys songs, but he wants to create tender, loving music. Okay. And to reach people in their hearts and their spirits, you know? And there's just a sensitivity to this guy. Yeah. You can see it in his eyes. If you look at old photos of Brian from the 60s, like this era, the mid-60s, he just seems like such a sweet, caring person. And he's had to go through some stuff. He had schizoaffective disorder. Oh, interesting. He was diagnosed with, severe mental health issues.
Got it.
Mental illness. Okay. To be clear.
And he was the writer and creator. He was not the lead vocal?
He's the lead vocal on most of this album.
Okay. This album.
Yeah, that's a rarity. Okay. The Beach Boys, what makes them so fantastic is, for a time, every single lead vocalist in the band is just phenomenal. Yeah. And that's because they have the GOAT, Brian Wilson, as their coach. Right. Who, before him, Murray was the coach. But I believe Brian's coaching was what took them to the absolute zenith, gotcha. And helped them reach just greatness.
And Murray is
the father.
Sure.
So he's a jazz cat. He was a jazz cat.
And he of the jazz era.
And so I think jazz taught people to be very, very strict about musical technique and practice. So that's a good thing. But the time was very much about like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and mental illness. What's that?
Yeah, right.
And so he was not a good coach for someone as sensitive as Brian.
Sure.
Nobody knows how this happened, but Brian did wind up becoming deaf in one ear. So at times he's attributed it to his dad hitting him in his head really hard.
Sure.
But then sometimes he has said that he was born that way. Sometimes, and I don't know his story. He's told it different ways.
Sure.
And sometimes...
It's whatever he's feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we want to, like, after we've made peace with our family, we want to protect them and, say, I'm not 100% sure that him hitting me caused me to be deaf.
Sure.
And also, he may have forgotten that there was a time when he could hear out of both ears, when you get older.
Point. Yeah, that's a great point, actually.
But anywho, another musical icon comes into play here. This is how you get to Pet Sounds. Phil Spector.
The name is so familiar.
He is the creator of the Wall of Sound. Be My Baby.
Okay.
And the song is crucial to Brian Wilson making that step from making pop records, good pop albums, to classics.
Nice.
He heard it on the radio and he pulled over and just like was blown away. Like he did the right thing, pulling over just because he was so astonished, and who knows if he could focus on driving.
Sure.
And it became something that he was obsessed with for years on afterward. But he hears this, and then he hears Rubber Soul by the Beatles, and says, holy crap, they made an album with no skippers. They made skipping wasn't around in the vinyl.
Yes, you can't skip this record.
Yeah, there's every song is good.
Right.
How, that's something that he's probably always wanted to do.
Yeah, of course.
But with Capitol Records, it's put out an album, it's been a few months, put out an album, it's been a few months. It's been almost 6 months. Come on, guys. And meanwhile, they've been touring, doing God knows how many interviews, God knows how many signings.
Yeah. Store appearances.
Maybe occasionally having time to shit.
Maybe.
But so he's now getting some freedom to stay at home and write stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool for him. He's excited, and he's like, what can I do to make an album better than Rubber Soul?
So he's putting himself again. I love when artists do this shit. When
the rivalry.
Yeah, in their mind, like they get blown to bits by something that comes out. They're like, yo, I gotta up it better than that.
Yeah, that's how innovation is formed. Or is created.
A little small side before as we get back in. The example I have from a hip hop perspective is Tribe Called Quest came out with the Low End Theory.
Yeah.
And Dr. Dre heard it and was like, yo, I need my albums to sound like that with the bass.
Yeah.
So then after that, he released The Chronic. Based off of like, I need something that that has that same weight behind it, the same type of drums. And so like that's the two that you can put these two classes, you know what I'm saying? Like a classic from a classic from a classic, you know what I mean? Like the inspiration.
Yeah, it's why when an artist starts like only listening to their own stuff as they get older, that's like almost the death clutch of artistic greatness. Where you if you stop being inspired by other people in your scene or even outside your scene, like younger artists, then you could start repeating yourself. And most of those artists do start repeating themselves when they do this. It's a common pattern I've noticed following great artists, so he starts thinking about how to make a great album, and he actually is such a Phil Spector fanboy that he starts attending sessions, and the musicians start to get to know him as like a really excitable, good kid who's really, he loves Phil Spector. And in an interview, Brian's like, I like the way he talked. I like the way he ordered the musicians around. I liked him.
Yeah. I like the guy.
So he had like a little fascination with him.
Sure.
And, he started to get to know the group of musicians that was called the Wrecking Crew.
Nice.
Do you know why they were called that?
No.
Because the joke amongst these amazing session musicians that could get pop records done in 2 or 3 takes, potentially, is we're wrecking the music industry with our, these crappy pop songs.
Oh, that's funny.
That may be a butcherization. They probably didn't say crappy pop songs.
Of course, but
they're wrecking the the radio.
Yeah, the radio, the sound of the time, or whatever, with all these pop records.
Carol Kay, Hal Blaine. There's all sorts of legendary musicians that were part of the Wrecking Crew. Glenn Campbell.
Nice.
You know him?
Yeah, the name's familiar.
One of the best guitarists ever. We'll have to listen to some Glenn Campbell sometime because you'll just love him.
Glenn Campbell.
One thing I love about you is you have a musical ear.
I do.
You recognize great players immediately.
Yeah, which is fun. Yeah, he's a big time. Glenn Campbell's big time.
And he's country. He's spiritual. 2 different genres that I'm not usually a fan of.
Right.
I listen to him and I'm just like, this cat can play, man.
This is a good player right here.
And also he's a musician. He's not just a good player. He's musical. And
which is great.
There were so many people in the Wrecking Crew, but they seem
like
to
it's a posse, right?
It's huge, man.
Yeah, so dope.
And they all seem to have a great ear and great like feel for music. But he starts cutting the occasional song with them. They appear on some Beach Boys stuff here and there. But for Pet Sounds, pretty much the whole thing is by them.
The Wrecking Crew. Right?
Yeah. In the previous Beach Boys albums, they would have the Beach Boys playing the instruments with guest performers every now and then.
Okay, so you're saying that this album, the Wrecking Crew were the instrumental performers.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
The occasional contribution was made by Carl Wilson on guitar from the mixing board.
Okay.
But most of the contributions here are by the Wrecking Crew.
That's really interesting.
So it creates a political dynamic within the group that's kind of interesting, where it's like, what the hell? He's having other people play on our records now?
Right.
And I haven't brought this up. Mike Love, he is one of the most contentious figures in rock history.
Why is that?
Because he's he's an asshole.
Okay.
He is an asshole.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it.
There's a bunch of people out there in the music industry that's assholes.
He's
one of the top.
he's a controversial figure. Yeah. There's a great speech he gave when the Beach Boys were being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Where he destroys the moment for them.
And his name is Mike Love too.
I'm glad you caught that, because he has spent his career making Mike Love jokes. Like, his solo album was called Mike Love, Not War. Yeah. The other one was called Looking Back with Love.
Just keep going.
So this is the type of humor he has. Whenever he gives a speech, like if he were to give a commencement speech at the U of M,
yes,
he would say, back in the day, me and Brian, we had fun. There's a song called Fun.
That type of thing.
And we've always been trying to spread good vibrations. Wouldn't it be nice if we all could look back with love? My voice got too good.
But that type of guy.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Cheesy. And he's been like this since he was in his 20s. So.
Yeah, that's just
so him. People are exhausted of this guy. But, he's really understanding of Brian Wilson's mental illness and
that's nice.
His brother's substance abuse issues. I got bad news. That was a lie. He's judgmental of them.
Oh.
And he says mean-spirited stuff about them.
Oh,
even after their deaths. Dennis Wilson's death from alcoholism and substance abuse, he still brings up drug use and how it ruined the band, and how Brian is mental. He has mental illness issues, but he should be left alone in a room with Brian to write music again. And it's just like,
interesting thought. Interesting thought.
Brian, I don't think you know this, but Brian is, it's been announced that he has dementia, and
he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Oh, okay.
But he has dementia, and he's like never going to be on stage again.
Yeah.
And they're just taking good care of him. But Mike Love, for the 60th or whatever anniversary of the Beach Boys, was like, we met up with Brian recently. He's looking really good. He's actually pretty sharp. Like, this is after the dementia announcement.
Oh, sure.
He's actually pretty sharp. We should get in a room together and start writing again. It's like, dude,
I know
it's over.
It's clinging.
It's sad as shit. Clinging. Like, and And he's very business minded, you know.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's still performing as the Beach Boys. He's the original, last.
Love.
Yeah, he's the last original member in the band. Bruce Johnston, he's technically like been with the band for a long time, but he's not a founding member, and he left the band for a bit. Anyway,
I've seen this guy.
This is not Pet Sounds.
I've definitely seen this guy.
This is not Pet Sounds. So, but Mike Love he had his concerns about Pet Sounds, and
sure.
he would say, "Who's going to hear this?" When Brian was being really focused on what type of harmony he wanted,
mm-hmm.
Mike Love would say, "Who's going to hear this? The ears of a dog." And he jokes that's what made him come up with the Pet Sounds title.
That's where it comes from.
Perchance.
I like that though. That's like a cute, like.
I don't.
It's probably not real.
I don't take anything that Mike Love says as fact, except for when he says he's pissed about royalties or something like that.
Sure. Some business related thing.
I'm actually not like a hater of Mike Love in terms of like, he's like an important musical contributor to the band.
Sure.
And his lyrics he was the main lyricist for most of the Beach Boys material up until Pet Sounds.
Okay, so he was earlier in the bit.
And he's a huge contributor. Like he and Brian Wilson were like the duo. Like
they were the 1-2.
Yeah. So they worked together on amazing songs. Mike Love is important to the Beach Boys' greatness. So I hate the way he carries himself and like the way he's disrespectful to Brian and to his family.
Right.
But I also know he is one of the great people, great. I don't know him personally. He's one of the greatness factors in the Beach Boys
for sure.
And his nasal voice was unlike most people on the radio at the time, and like when you hear the song California Girls, you immediately hear that vocal.
That's him?
And you're like, this is a great vocal right here.
Yeah.
But anywho, so the Beach Boys were like in Japan while the bulk of Pet Sounds was being recorded.
That's interesting. So in Japan, okay.
Mm-hmm. And Brian, he's asking around, do you know someone who could help me with lyrics? Because Mike Love is out of town and he wants to work on these songs right away.
Okay.
And I think in his heart, he probably wanted someone better than Mike Love at lyrics.
Sure.
And he actually, in the past, I had mentioned that they met at a party, but that was a different contributor for another album.
Mm-hmm.
But through a friend, Brian was connected with this guy, Tony Asher, who was in advertising at the time.
Interesting.
And they meet up. Brian likes the cut of his jib, and they start working on what would become Pet Sounds. And
in Japan.
No, the band is on tour in Japan.
They're on tour in Japan.
And Brian is
Brian's home.
Brian's back home. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So Brian is not in Japan.
That would be fun. And like him just like gallivanting in Japan.
I think he's happy.
I'm sure in Japan. I'm sure he's not.
Let's make sure we're setting the emotions right. That's
happy. A good point. He's like, I'm great here.
I don't want to run to Godzilla, man. Sorry. Or we could say run to Ippo. I don't know.
Yeah, one of those guys. One of those Japanese guys.
Man. Mm-hmm. But so he's writing new songs with this cat, and some of them come pretty quickly. Some of them are like the song God Only Knows, which is one of the most beloved lyrics of all time. Mm-hmm. It took them like 45 minutes to write that whole song. And they wrote it like in a collaborative fashion.
Right, back and forth.
Like it's not like Brian presented full tracks every time.
Mm-hmm.
He would sometimes not have the song finished, but he'd play something on the piano.
Right.
Tony would come up with a lyric. Mm-hmm. Then he'd say, what should we do after that? How about this? Mm-hmm. So true collaboration.
Just fun.
The cool thing about true artistic collaboration is you start to lose track of who did what, and you don't care anymore. You just go, we're doing something here.
Yeah.
Let's just almost do a mind meld.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's a lot like writing a podcast. We're writing this right now.
Exactly. Putting it together as we go.
Yeah, flinging stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
There you go.
Noodles, not shit.
No, definitely not shit.
Of course.
High class.
So I think I've given you some pretty good, history.
Yeah, of the Sounds. So where does Pet Sounds, what album number is it in there?
You hit me with a tough one right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Let me think here.
Because you said that Mike Love helped for the first kind of the beginning stage.
So because of how 60s albums were and pop albums,
too many.
There's like 13 before Pet Sounds.
Okay,
that's just going off of. That's not a like 100% accurate answer.
Sure, but around that.
It was around that amount for sure.
So they did a lot before Pet Sounds hit.
Yeah, so they were probably, if they were being honest with themselves, probably kind of burnt. The Beach Boys were.
I could see that.
So them getting a break for one album was probably good for them creatively.
Yeah, for sure.
And some cool stuff in the instrumentation. It was unheard of for a bass harp to get a solo on a pop song. And
give me the song for that.
That's I Know There's an Answer.
Oh, okay. I wrote down some songs.
That's where it goes, and it's just super low. And you're like, what instrument is that? Is that a foghorn?
Right.
It's like, no, they didn't have a foghorn. Here's another fun fact for you. Mm-hmm. The song "You Still Believe in Me," track 2, that used to be called "My Childhood." Nobody's ever heard the original lyric, but it was speculated that it was going to be about Brian Wilson's like childhood memories. And in the instrumentation of the track, you can hear there's an instrument that's going, and it's a bicycle horn.
I see.
And they made sure it was in the right key for the song.
I like that. Wow, that's attention to detail. But I fuck with that.
Yeah, but it's and it was done the way that music was mixed. You only had 4 tracks a lot of the time. So they would say, all right, we got 4 tracks here. We got to mix this down, and then we'll add another 4 tracks. Mm-hmm. That bicycle horn was in there to stay.
There's no moving it.
Yeah, there was no moving it. And these are the limitations of great music, my friend. Yeah. Because the bicycle horn, they probably would have wanted to remove it.
Right.
But it's staying in there creates this like mix of tones where it's like a song about a loving relationship. And then also this childlike whimsy in the background. I've loved this album since 2008, I want to say. Okay. So not 20 years, but close. Graduation year. When Graduation came out by Kanye West.
Yeah. Oh, that's. You guys were at a time where when that came right out as you guys were graduating. It's crazy.
Did it come out in 2008 or 2009?
Let's see. The Yaster.
Do you realize that you were a champion? Yes, I did.
Let's see. Yes, I did.
That album is so fun for me, but his flow on most of the tracks it's not even like a rap album a lot of the time. Like.
Yeah, it's a quote unquote like stadium album.
And I like it.
It came out actually the year before it.
I graduated early. No, I'm just kidding.
you were early graduation.
Early graduation.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be my graduation because mine would have been like in the summer of, or not the summer, but the spring of 07. But yeah, a couple months after that. So it was like it was your last school year.
Yeah, no, it was after I graduated from high school. I just was doing a lot of music studying. And I say that sincerely,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I listen to this and I'm just, so I would keep hearing these people talk about the song God Only Knows, right?
Yep.
That's one of those big, like, if you want to put a sign up that says, I'm a deep thinking and then feeling musician.
Yes.
You say that's one of your favorite songs.
I love God Only Knows.
God Only Knows. And so like prog, I was seeing prog musicians say it. I was seeing my like pop musicians say it. So I'm like, I'm seeing this album keep getting touched upon in all the different music I'm listening to.
Yes, people keep mentioning
male, female, black, white, all sorts of different people are bringing this up. So I do what I do.
You digging.
I download illegally.
Yep.
Sorry, Brian.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, of course. I've bought this album multiple times.
Yeah.
But I check it out and I think it's good music right away.
Yeah.
But something clicks with the song. Well, so wouldn't it be nice? I heard the first time in a King of the Hill episode.
Yeah, the Wouldn't It Be Nice record is a song that's used fairly frequently in like media.
Yeah, 50 First Dates, it appears in that, I believe. It's basically used for montages when someone's falling in love, typically, or their love story is beginning.
Yep.
And Yeah, so I heard that song and I go, this is the most beautiful song I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was not like a record listener back then.
Sure.
It was just like I would hear a song and go, I like this.
I like this song.
Let's go to Napster.
Right. Let's pull this one.
I'm incriminating myself with the RIAA. That's okay.
Now, that's a good point, actually, that you mentioned that. There was a period where we were just getting songs before we started really digging into albums.
Yeah. So there's a track on here called I Just Wasn't Made for These Times.
Yeah.
And that song, to me, it feels like it's my soul. It's reaching my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says, what can I... they say I got brains, but they ain't doing me no good. I wish they could. Mm-hmm. And the line about how he's got friends, but his fair weather friends cop out. What's it all about? You know, just painful lyrics. And in the background, I didn't know this at the time, but there's Spanish that's saying, what will I be? And then I think, how will I be?
I like that.
Yeah.
It's in the background, kind of like faintly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the main lyric is saying, sometimes I feel very sad. That's just it. Sometimes I feel very sad.
I like
Sometimes
that too.
Sometimes I feel very sad. And then there's a little interlude where it goes, na, 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 na. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. And it's just like this melancholy. Deep melancholy.
Yeah.
And it's the type of track that Mike Love was opposed to being on a Beach Boys record, you know? Too much melancholy.
I see.
He wanted fun in the sun, you know?
I get it. Okay, I see what I see where Mike Love is.
As a businessman.
In the crew. Like, he's like... Yeah, I see where he is. I get it. Yeah. I get what Mike Love is.
We like to have fun.
It's a fun record, yeah. So
good vibrations.
Yeah, we're doing good music.
This is before Good Vibrations came out.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. that was next. So I start re-listening to this album, and I'm just like, man, so many of these songs are just hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just realizing, like, oh, every single song on this is perfect. And I wouldn't change a note.
Resonates with you.
Yeah, it's, and I feel good when I listen to it. And I feel alive, and I feel love and hope and peace.
Yeah.
And quick note, just a personal story. Mm-hmm. There's a song on there called That's Not Me, which is about...
First one. Or the first one that I added as
well. Okay.
This is my list of standouts.
Listen, man. We don't want to spread misinfo.
First song on the record.
First one.
Yep.
This is you and our Pet Sounds cover band practice.
Yeah, I want to do... Let's look at my list. I'm going to do That's Not Me.
That's Not Me. That's the first song on the record.
Yep. Into Here Today.
Yeah. Oh, well, cool. So you have some favorites. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But That's Not Me is a lyric where Mike Love is singing the lead also on that one, and he does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to fence sit, man. I can just
no,
see
he does.
I can see the haters,
like this guy,
the haters of the Akira Slide podcast go, God damn, Mike fence sitting rolling. God damn it.
He likes Mike Love. He doesn't like Mike Love. Is he the black one?
Is he black? That's as good as your traditional man spiel from a...
Yeah. Is he black?
Is he black? Everyone's going to ask if I am. Yeah. Yep, I sound black, I know.
That's me.
I can hear the fans laughing at that.
It's just a big uproar. It's like a TV track.
Our fans, by the way, have the voices of cartoon mice, you know?
I like that. Little children mice.
Yeah. So... but That's Not Me is like someone who has recently left home. But they've probably graduated high school too.
Yeah.
And I listened to that when I was at Winona State University, where I went to college. And he says, I miss my pet and the places I'd known. And that line just gutted me because I missed my dog, Bullrock.
Sure.
I had this English bulldog named Bullrock who was just the freaking best dog in the world. And I hated going to college without him, you know?
Oh, sure.
He was like my friend. Like, he wasn't like just the family dog. He was my buddy. And
in my head, I'm like, why couldn't you bring the dog? And then I'm like,
college.
You don't bring animals to college.
Yeah. I mean, cool. I was living in a dorm, and
right,
that you couldn't bring
why would people have to
that would make the sacrifice less powerful when kids have to leave the family
Great
pet.
point.
So they can just bring little Sprocket.
I got a little piece of home right here.
A little piece of home. I got my little gecko right here. And by the way, I fuck with geckos. And lizards. But so and the lyric is about someone trying to discover what it means to be an adult,
Oh, sure.
Am I doing something that I really believe is right in my core?
Mm-hmm.
That's not me. Right. I wrote my folks, told them what I was up to. They said, that's not me. So he's fucking up in this song. He's making bad choices. And at the end, he talks to his girlfriend who he probably broke up with before he went to college.
Sure.
And he says, I'm now much more sure that we're ready because I've grown up. Mm-hmm. And so it's like this. It's a movie in a song. I
love that, though.
You can see where the beginning is, the middle, and the end. And by the way, who knows if he really has matured? Probably not.
Right.
Because on the path to becoming a man and having a wife and child, that there were little slips and fuck-ups.
Self-discoveries and... It's a lot of information, gathering information,
mm-hmm.
or not maybe even gathering, receiving information.
You're going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. You're going to hurt a few people along the way. Hopefully,
decisions being made, good for good or bad, those type of things.
I know you were mostly just getting straight A's.
In
terms of being an adult,
I was killing it, straight A's.
Didn't hurt a single person.
No, wasn't out there doing... No, it sounds like we're leaning towards, me actually doing those things.
Yeah, no.
Which I definitely was out there in the streets. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Sort of like Aoki and Kimura.
Yeah, there you go. I was a ruffian for a while, and then, I found boxing.
You weren't. No, you didn't.
That would have been amazing, though, if I did find boxing.
I know, but we couldn't do a podcast anymore if you did.
That's a good point.
Because you would...
CTE. Yeah.
It would just come slower to you. It'd still be the same, but everything
would not be quick on my feet.
You'd still be in the Prince discussion right now.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. What about? Wait, did you like 1999 or no?
I'd be saying, so the Beach Boys were on tour in 1999 or in Japan, and you'd say, Prince did 1999 around then, right? And I'd be like, no. Get off Prince, man.
No, we're not on Prince anymore.
We left Prince a while ago.
Do I gotta ring the bell? Call it off.
I just did the boxer, the referee motion for ending the fight.
Yep.
Ding, ding.
Call it.
But then you would have the green fire in your eyes, and I'd say, you know what, he can still talk.
He's still there.
he's still in there somewhere.
Some piece in there.
Still One Piece in there.
Ooh.
I actually watched some One Piece clips. That seemed pretty good.
You inching over?
I think I'm respecting it more, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. Here's the thing about me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not.
Don't even.
So we'll get back to Brian. Brian's just listening to this and just shaking his head. God damn it! One Piece is not the longest running manga that I'm aware of. Do you know what it is?
What?
Hajime no Ippo.
No, really?
Yeah. So I was watching the fighting, and I'm going, I can see why people love One Piece and why nobody's bitching about it still airing. If you're invested in the story,
you're invested,
and if the author is still putting out good stuff, you never want it to end.
Sure.
So why? Yeah. Why would I'm not crying for Always Sunny to end, even though it could at any moment.
Right.
Their legacy is secured.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why they keep making new seasons, but for the last few years, every one I've watched, I've been like, yeah, that was fun. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
Is it their best years ever? No.
They still get it.
They still get it. Yeah. Right. There's still good episodes, and great episodes.
Right. So. Absolutely.
But One Piece is 1,000 something episodes, and if Hajime no Ippo was 1,000 something episodes, and it was still great, I wouldn't be on here going, they gotta end this fucking shit, man.
I don't want to see this anymore.
Takamura can suck my... Nah, he's alright.
Imagine watching 1,000 episodes of Ippo.
They could do it.
I would do it, and I think that's the issue, is that I would still be I would still be watching as if it was just a casual, I just watch Ippo every couple.
I don't know. I don't know if I could be casual with Ippo, you know?
You know what I mean? depending on how they release, I guess no different than a Dragon Ball thing.
Yeah.
I'm still watching that, and I don't know how many episodes they've done, like, in totality. Maybe not.
Dragon Ball, the original series, was, I think, 153 episodes. And then Dragon Ball Z was 291.
Okay.
And then GT was 64. So, not even close. Luffy has beaten them.
Killed them.
In quantity.
Yeah, killed the quantity.
And there's a lot of filler in One Piece, though.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if there's, like, 1,000 episodes of story in One Piece.
Good point.
The manga chapters are still coming out, too, by the way.
Right.
But, and fans do complain about One Piece, where it's like, I know I just said they don't, but I'm referring to, like, the overall story.
Sure.
But the anime will come out with, like, an episode that is, like, 20 minutes and maybe 5 minutes of it is, like, new content.
I see.
Then, like, most of it is, like, just characters talking and, like, exposition and reestablishing the same stakes that they had, like, a week ago. So it sounds like it would be a nightmare to
There's
watch.
too much going on.
Yeah. And also, they take breaks now. They used to, like, I think that they're trying to cut back on the filler from what I can tell.
That's nice.
So that is good, because it'll lead to higher quality and higher enjoyment for the fans if they are not watching or not reading the manga,
Yeah.
Because, the filler thing can ruin a series.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it makes the show not good to me if it's just a ton of filler, so.
Right. And then sometimes it muddies the water where there will be, like, feats that the characters pull off in filler that, like, the next episode they'll undermine by not being able to do something as impressive.
Didn't they just...
But the power scaling. So,
thanks.
Beach Boys power scaling. Brian, for lead vocals, he's my pick for number one.
He's generally at Super Saiyan level to Super Saiyan God.
Super Saiyan God, I would say.
Yeah, definitely Super Saiyan God.
And for a time, he was at Megate no Gokui, or Ultra Instinct.
Okay, but where was Mike Love in all of this? Was he the Vegeta of it all? Because it really sounds like it, actually, if you really put it together.
Damn it.
It really is. He is. He's Vegeta.
Damn it. He's Vegeta if Vegeta had the skill set of Chaozu.
Jesus Christ.
because he's like, man, that's a good diss. So he's controlling because Chaozu has the psychic powers.
Sure.
But he's not strong. He's weak.
Jesus.
And he takes out his weakness on other people who are stronger than him.
I feel it. Okay.
So, like, if Vegeta was mad at Nappa for losing, and he tried to kill him, and Nappa was like, "I'm fine. You didn't hurt me at all." He's like, "Damn it! Well, I'm still mad at you, and you have mental illness.
You have mental illness,
and you should stop doing drugs.
Stop the drugs."
Yes, sir.
Like a Garlic Jr. type character.
Sorry, you got me hungry for garlic.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, back to the Beach Boys. No more anime. This is not an anime podcast.
We definitely crossed over.
Cross the streams.
Yeah,
Don't cross the streams.
Don't do it.
So yeah, I would say that overall this album positively changed my life for the better, and it's actually, I think, one of Rivers Cuomo's favorite albums from Weezer. But it's something to aspire to. Like if I'm Ippo, then this album is like Date. Someone or Ricardo, someone up above the path that I'm like running towards, and I'm just trying to get there. And who knows if I could ever get to something this great, but at least the journey to get there is like really fun, and I'll make some friends along the way.
They are the carrot.
Yeah, the carrot in front of the singer-songwriter stick.
So it's funny that you mentioned Rivers. So when I was listening to this album, it reminded me of Weezer. I don't know if I'm like off base.
No.
When I listen to these albums, like I'll have these opinions, and then I'll have these counter opinions where I'm like, "Am I off base?
Count on.
Do I know enough to say that this reminds me of Weezer or not?"
Trust your instincts.
Yeah.
I have those same moments where I'm like feeling like I'm going out on a limb.
Right.
I have to be brave. And usually when I bring them up with a friend who knows more than me, and I'm not saying I know more than you.
No.
Only
you do.
Only about pet sounds.
Right, in this field.
By the way.
It sounds like I'm only in this field.
Only in this field. You fucking idiot. No, there's a video where this cooking YouTuber that I follow, he goes to a restaurant, he orders a breakfast burger, and it's supposed to have hash browns on top.
That sounds good, by the way.
Yeah. And with a fried egg on top, or like a sunny side up egg on top.
Yeah.
It looks great.
That sounds great.
But he's complaining. I'm sorry for snorting.
Yeah, no,
he's complaining to the staff because it has like something that he doesn't think counts as hash browns on top of the burger.
Okay.
But so while he's being an annoying Karen, he's saying, could I get this but with a better egg and more hash browns? And he pronounces hash browns as hash browns.
Hash browns.
And so I've been chuckling to myself internally because I've been saying pet sounds this whole episode as pet sounds.
Pet sounds.
So it's really like super autistic humor.
That's very funny.
Where it's like super difficult to explain, niche.
Yeah.
Referencing one of my like niche
quirks.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah. Very good.
There you go. Very good. You're like, I can't tell what he's talking about.
Very good.
Very good. Good reference.
No, I follow what you're saying.
Hash browns.
Hash browns.
Can I get one with hash browns? Please. And he's not saying please. He's just being,
no. He's being,
and he doesn't like pet sounds. I don't think.
I must be hungry as hell or something because that sounds great to me.
Let's go to Perkins after this, man. It's a 3-day weekend.
That's what it sounds like.
All right, but anyway, so I've CTE coming in.
There you go. You've been boxing.
Yeah, I've been boxing.
You've been boxing.
That's a surprise. I've been boxing, and I've already got the belt.
Oh, you're champion?
Champion of Minnesota. That's right.
Geez.
Not the United States, but
no,
and not Minnesota, but
Twin Cities. Champion.
Yeah, I don't want to say my city, but yeah,
TC.
Not tri-state area.
I like that though. What does that even mean? Tri-state.
I like yours, Twin Cities champion.
Yeah, Twin Cities champion's great.
God, if anyone listens to this and they're a boxer, they're gonna be like, we got a gun for this guy.
Yeah,
this guy's tough as hell. So I've yammered on enough about pet sounds.
Yeah, I like to hear the information and the backstory and the behind the album and kind of how it became what it was.
Mm-hmm. And it came out. I got one more piece for you.
Yeah,
because I think how it was received is important for any piece of art's discussion.
Love to hear that.
The critics, they loved the album.
Okay,
they thought it was great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The record label, they had just gotten a new manager at the time who had helped the Beatles a little bit here and there.
Okay.
And this guy sucked for the Beach Boys because he had the idea of not only will we put out pet sounds, but we're going to package it with a greatest hits album. And
so he felt that they were at that point in their career. Mm-hmm. We're going to greatest hits you.
Yeah. And it's going to be a double album with pet sounds. And it just like made the band feel so old and deflated, and it also didn't like help promote the album at all.
And this is in '66.
Yeah.
Greatest hits,
and they had been around since 1961, 62. So
greatest hits them 5 years in,
and like 13 albums in 4 years for 5 years. It's great. So it's how you burn out these bands by doing this. You know, that's why the Beatles stopped playing live, because it was not sustainable. The model had to change.
Yeah,
and they found that out by seeing what they were doing to these artists. Bands broke up really quick for a reason.
Yeah,
back in the 70s and 60s, and
I can see that.
So. Yeah, the album was like not a commercial failure, but it definitely didn't do as well as they would have liked. Okay. And but it did well enough where Brian was able to start working on something called Smile, which is one of the great lost albums of all time. He never finished it. He started not feeling supported by his bandmates, by Mike Love in particular, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And he started working with a fellow named Van Dyke Parks, who was like the next level beyond. If we were talking Super Saiyan God, then he's Super Saiyan Blue in terms of being poetic and a wordsmith and kind of a genius.
Okay.
So, and Brian wanted to make his music go up to that level, so he started. He had dabbled in pot and LSD here and there.
Sure.
But he was really getting into it for the Smile stuff. And drugs played a part in that material for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Tripping. And it would have been a great stoner album for sure.
You think that's kind of where it was headed musically?
Yeah. And maybe even more so than stoner, like, you know, tripping.
Trippy, yeah.
Trippy shit. There's like a sketch where he's like pretending that he got trapped in the piano, like he got shrunk. And
really?
Yes, in 1967, yeah. But so and the music was like kaleidoscopic, where like he'd write one section and then another section. He'd write what they called feels, and there would be like one demo for a song would have this section that used to be in another song. So it became, I think, honestly, just the lack of like organization and having like a strong goal. Is what killed that project, along with no support from the record label, from his family, and from the band. And he just lost the. He couldn't finish it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
And they did put out a song, "Heroes and Villains," eventually, because they had been. It was the record label demand. You know, you got to put out more music. And he was like, "I want to work on this for like a year," and basically like. The answer was no. Like we can't not put something out for a year. So
just so crazy the churning out of music.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it was never finished as the Beach Boys. But 40 years later, so he did finish it as a solo artist. The Royal Albert Hall, after he performed Pet Sounds one summer, they asked him to come back and they commissioned him to finish Smile. And,
commissioned him to finish it.
Yeah. So they wanted to have a series of concerts where he would debut Smile. Cool, huh? Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And so he had a goal to finish this album, and through the help of his band, like Darian. Darian's a great. You should check him out sometime. He's a great musician. He did finish Smile, and it's a cool little like victory, you know, of the human spirit. So we'll have to talk about Smile some other time.
For sure.
Yeah, you can't talk about Pet Sounds without mentioning Smile, because I don't know if Smile could have been better than Pet Sounds. Pet Sounds is perfect.
Yeah,
but
I understand that.
It was him trying to like, push himself, go one level beyond, and probably more than one level. And
since most of his band is his brothers, where were they on the support? Like they just. Are they looking? This is their older brother, and they're looking at him like, "I think you're going too far."
So I think I did too much generalization. Carl and Dennis, when they talked to the press about the album, they did say there was a great supportive line by Dennis, which I've actually used this to describe my music before. He says, "Smile is so good it makes Pet Sounds stink."
I like that. So he actually messed with what he was hearing.
Yeah. He could have.
He sounds like he could have. Yeah.
There was pressure in the Beach Boys camp to
not go that
and you know,
route. These
these guys had mortgages. They had families.
Yeah, they want to make money.
They do.
And
there's like somewhere you can meet in the middle on that.
Yeah.
But even Mike Love, this is where I'll give them credit. They were soldiers for the music, and they would get into the studio and. You listen to the raw tracks of them recording these backup vocals, which, by the way, are good enough to be tracks on their own without instruments.
Right.
And I've listened to Pet Sounds, the whole album, as a cappella. Like,
oh, nice.
A cappella Pet Sounds is another album. It's fantastic.
Oh, dope.
You should check it out.
Okay.
It's a spiritual thing for sure. But
yeah.
They would nail it. And they weren't like phoning it in, and they weren't like pissing about. They were just killing it. Yeah. Even Mike Love. So to his credit.
That's cool.
But did I have a point?
We were talking about just basically... Oh, we were talking about the reception of the album.
Oh, yeah. So people loved it, but over time, it just kept growing, the cult of Pet Sounds lovers. And
that's how a good album usually does.
Yeah. So it was like just passed around as like, you got to hear this. Like, you know, the Beach Boys, you might remember them as just like a goofy band, but this song, God Only Knows, is like Paul McCartney's favorite song. And it's true. He's on record as saying that.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And, you know, it's jazzy. I thought you might like this album because it's kind of jazzy.
It does have elements
the chords,
of jazz in there.
The chord voicings are very jazzy, and the instrumentation is jazzish.
Yeah.
And
I have some some standout records. Not to say, I think the limited time I've listened to it a few different times, but the limited time that I've had with the album, I have some standout musically sounding tracks.
Well, let me hear them.
I enjoyed That's Not Me. Here Today.
Oh, yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah. And I also really enjoyed the Just Wasn't Made for These Times. I think that song probably stood out to me first the most.
Yeah. And that has the little theremin type action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the theremin. Yeah, I thought that was dope.
We could talk for an entire podcast length about every one of these songs in terms of the unique production choices and the lyrics being high quality.
I'm still very surface because it's a new album for me. So when I'm listening to something like this, I have to start up here and then kind of, as you listen more to it, you can get more further down into the detail of it all.
Yeah.
So from a surface standpoint, and then God Only Knows is obviously the standout record on the album. I love some of the poppier records that they have too. But I like album cuts generally.
That's me too. We are both deep cut guys.
Yeah. And so those are the ones. I don't maybe God Only Knows isn't a deep cut, but it's still a standout record. It's strong enough that even if it was not a deep cut, it's just a very strong song, as everyone says. That's
one of those songs that is so powerful that it's become, through sheer force of greatness, a non-album cut that is not a single.
Right. It's not a single.
I don't believe it was a single.
Oh, so it really just shot through. That's really great to have like a song that is not presented as the single, but like everyone just loves it that much.
Carl Wilson sang lead on that one, and Brian, he like when he was telling the song or writing the song with
Carl Wilson, huh?
Carl Wilson's that's his little brother.
So I like his voice a lot.
Yeah, he's got. And as he got older, it was smoother.
Mm-hmm.
And
really?
There's a phrase that I say for like more soulful white singers, where I'll say that they have like gravy in their voice.
Ooh, I like that.
I say it for Michael McDonald.
Oh, Michael McDonald.
And like when he's, especially in his later years, and as a soulful like white singer ages, they get more gravy in their voice. People are listening to this and going, what the
gravy?
fuck?
So there's more texture to it, really.
You got to check out some later Carl Wilson vocals, because he could sing the phone book. He's got the best voice in rock for a time. I think he has some of the best lead vocals ever. But at this era, I would say Brian Wilson was my favorite lead vocalist of the band.
Got it.
Because his voice has a piercing quality that just cuts through, and you just hear it, and he's just singing with his whole spirit, and also just the clarity of his timbre.
Yeah,
his tone is just
it sits
amazing.
on top.
Yeah, and it's not even just the mix. It's like this guy is like singing from the exact spot in his like throat and from his diaphragm that makes it sound the best.
Right.
So he was just, I'm sure he was just such a perfectionist with his lead vocal.
Right.
Those are some great picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the greatest lyrical what the fuck moments is the first line of God Only Knows. Did you clock that?
I don't think so.
It is, I may not always love you. And you go, what? This is the most...
I like that.
This is the sweetest song I've ever heard. And yet the next line goes, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without you. So that first line throws you for a loop immediately.
That's a great twist.
And every time I listen to it, I just, that it's the most beautiful I may not always love you you've ever heard. And,
that's fantastic, actually. That's a great...
I got chills just saying it. And,
it's a great twist.
It's a twist, and it's also honest. I may not always love you. But,
it's something that he is comfortable with saying, but then he also reassures that it's not likely.
It's in reality.
Yeah,
it's in reality where it's like, this could happen, but as long as there are stars above you.
I'm here with it. I believe this. So yeah, he's really writing at a high level. If you really, like I said, I haven't gotten to the layers yet. I'm still surface level, but Yeah, you can hear it. He's really writing at a high level.
Yeah, and he found someone through sheer luck. I was thinking about this the other night. Imagine being the friend that connected Brian Wilson to Tony Asher. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe that was their big contribution in life, you know?
Yeah, like you were that guy or whoever.
Hopefully they had other contributions that were big, too. But,
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure.
It's still really important. Like, you played a part in one of the greatest albums in history.
So to the Weezer point...
Sorry, I think I interrupted you.
No, you didn't. But I'm listening to the album and I'm like, I hear Rivers in this, or whatever, vice versa, whatever you want to say, whatever, however that goes. It must be Brian Wilson that he sounds like, yes, or that he kind of sounds like. Not sounds like. I'm not saying he's a copy because that's not what I mean. What I mean is I hear tonally similarities in maybe the delivery of some song. Obviously, they make different records because Rivers is of the grunge-ish era, even though he wasn't
post-grunge.
Post-grunge, thank you.
Kind of.
Yeah, he's like in that weird in-between.
That's what makes Weezer so weird, is that they're like sort of after grunge, but they were super inspired by Nirvana.
Yeah.
Also, they were big metalheads before grunge.
So. Yeah, and they have their own mix of that.
And then he also liked pop.
Yeah, he has he's a boyish vocal.
Do you want to know how Pet Sounds influenced the Wheeze?
Yeah, let me hear the direct...
This is a very Michael Rowland heavy episode.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Shut up!
I don't want to hear from you.
Can't you just pull up an AI grok? Rivers Cuomo. He worked at Tower Records. This was before the band started to write... or before the band started to record Pet Sounds. Take two. Mm-hmm. I'm on drugs. And I have CT.
You were boxing, I know.
Take three. Rivers Cuomo in the 90s, he worked at Tower Records. Mm-hmm. And the band was writing what would become what's known as their eponymous Blue album.
The Blue.
Which came out in 94. Mm-hmm. And they were a few songs deep, you know. They had gotten a lot of it done. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to decide... Should I buy Led Zeppelin? I want to say it's Physical Graffiti. I don't know if that's right. Or Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. He couldn't decide which one, but he worked at Tower Records, and he would like get exposed to new music over the speakers. But he would buy stuff. He'd be like, I got to check out more of this.
Yeah.
He decided to buy Pet Sounds, and he credits it with being like one of the biggest influences on him ever.
For sure.
So, and you can hear it, I think, in the lead vocals on Blue. Yep. Because as we've discussed this on a previous show, Rivers used to be a grungy metal singer. He would get raspy and like distort his voice.
Yeah.
And on Blue, he has some of that left, but he also is trying to be smooth and clean sounding, you know, and straight laced almost.
Yeah, very much so.
And if he had gotten that Led Zeppelin album, who knows if he would have like leaned back into more like guitar theatrical singing and solos. But there's a song on the Blue album called Holiday.
Yep.
And the opening line of that song is "Let's go away for a while." Mm-hmm. If you peep the Pet Sounds track list, you'll see there's a song on there called "Let's Go Away for a While."
Yeah.
Little cute. One of my favorite things about writing songs is making cute references.
Yeah, little connections there. There it is.
Yeah. So, and by the way, the instrumentals on Pet Sounds they don't get enough credit just because the harmony stacks for the vocals are so great, but the instrumentals are fantastic too.
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, my favorite is probably "Let's Go Away for a While," just because it's so like evocative of like, you feel like you're on this ship that's like passing through a beautiful sunset, and you're with the love of your life or something.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I get for that song. Let's go away for a while. Let's just like go on this beautiful vacation. And then Sloop John B, which was the record label's insistence that be on the record because it was a hit album or a hit single. Mm-hmm. We brought this up the other day, but Al Jardine suggested that song. And Brian heard it and he goes, "Oh, I can do something with this." And he changes the key and changes a lot about the song. Mm-hmm. And the lyric in the original folk song by the Kingsman Trio is, "I feel so break up. I Want to Go Home, because it's like an old song where they like are speaking kind of
broken English,
and it's like they're not trying to sound like super accurate. You would play it at like a bar probably.
Right.
I feel so break up. It's just kind of an odd thing. But he changed it to I Feel So Broke Up. And I was driving over here listening to it, and I love I Feel So Broke Up.
I like that. Yeah.
It's a great. And then he also, I believe this was their edition where they say this is the worst trip I've ever been on, which there's like a double meaning there where it's like, of course a vacation, but you could also say this is the worst trip.
Mm-hmm.
You could think it's about drugs, or in the 60s they'd say, man, you're on a real trip,
Yeah.
So it's a great, two great lyrical changes.
That's fun.
But yeah, man,
it's a great album.
It's an album of my heart. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a decent
so
album.
This is where you go, I have something to reveal.
I actually thought it was a flop.
Yeah, in terms of flip or flop, I don't know. You know what the most insulting would be? If you gave it a soft flip.
A soft flip?
I've done that for certain movies on here.
I mean, that's fair. I think for movies, music is...
Well, it takes a lot of work to make a movie too, though.
Yeah. Music is like something where... Music's hard, because if you don't... It always kind of surprises me sometimes how quick people can digest music. I think you have to work that muscle. It's a muscle to digest music fast like that.
Yeah, I would agree.
And my muscle for digesting of music, I don't think I've ever been like a fast digester of music. I think I love living with stuff a lot.
Me too.
Because then when you get hit with it, it's a very profound when you get hit with it.
It's true.
It's like, whoa.
And sometimes you do have to have that moment where you weren't paying attention for most of the listen.
Right.
And you get to the side B of the album that you rarely pay attention to.
Or you try to skip sometimes.
And suddenly this one song you've always skipped.
Yep.
You were unguarded.
And it was playing. And it gets you. It's like it sneaks up on you like, I got you.
Yeah. And also, you have to be open to give stuff a second chance later in life. You really do.
Right.
There's certain albums that I didn't like when they came out, and then I checked them out years later, and I go, this just works better now for me.
Thank you.
And I'm glad I gave it another chance. So there's a certain mindset of music lovers where they're like, I gotta acquire.
Yep.
Just keep hearing new stuff over and over. And it's good to have the hunger.
That is really great.
But you gotta occasionally take stock of what you have.
Right.
It's like the whole hoarder thing, right? You can't stop getting new stuff, and you got to read the books on your nightstand eventually before you get another book. That's my mindset. That's for my own mental health. Like, speaking of new books, you got the Charlie Brown dictionary over there. What is this?
Yo.
Oh, wait. I'm so sorry for interrupting, but so what are your overall thoughts on Pet Sounds? Do you like it? Do you think you'll ever listen to it again?
Yeah, I enjoyed the record a lot.
Collective sigh of relief.
Yeah, I enjoyed the album, and then the more I listened to it, I found songs that kind of, like I mentioned, that really stood out to me musically. I'm still in the surface level of Pet Sounds, so I haven't dug into. First of all. There's more that I need to know about it as far as like who's singing what. I also have not identified everyone's voice.
I'm very bad at that when I'm getting into a band.
Right.
When I first got into Prince, to take it back to my P-Man.
Yeah, he's back again.
He's back again. When I first heard the song 1999, I remember as a kid telling my mom, man, this Prince guy, his voice is crazy. I can't believe he's all those voices in the beginning. And like, I had no idea that it was like his bassist. And then Wendy and Lisa, or I'm sorry, not Wendy and Lisa, like Jill Jones and Lisa, I think, singing the female part in the like, so it goes, I was dreaming when I wrote this, forgive me if it goes astray.
That's right, because that doesn't sound like
Prince. That's not Prince. It isn't Prince.
You're right.
As a kid, I go, wow, his voice is so deep there. And then he sounds like a girl here. I was dreaming. Whoops, that's not right. I was dreaming. Well, I can't say that.
You're at the. You're
That's
up.
too high for me.
Yeah, you're up.
I was dreaming when I wrote this. Forgive me if it goes astray. That's the female vocal.
Yep.
And the second line is
lower vocal.
The lower guy, and then Prince comes in. Sky was all everywhere.
Yes, because you can hear the way.
And then they
Prince
all
has this
sing,
funky way of singing, and you can tell.
And then they all sing the last line as a choir.
Yeah,
together. That'll all be cut.
Yeah, that's
a horrible thing to listen to. I'm sure. Where I'm like just butchering the lyrics and the tone.
Yeah, no, we're messing around.
This guy's a pro singer. No, I'm not a pro.
Pro vocalist.
Yeah. So anyway. Well, I'm glad you liked it. And I know that listening to something for a podcast can be tough. Like I've been trying to listen to, I have a Nas record that a friend of mine, I won't say who, recommended it to me. And I've been putting it on like, not like every day as homework, but just like, let me put this on right now.
Yeah.
I've been like putting it on while I'm doing other stuff. So I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Mm-hmm. If you treat something as homework for the pod, then it affects your relationship with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I've got some stuff from that album I already like. So
yeah, the Nas record, Untitled or the Nigger album or whatever. Scary stuff. No, I mean just the way that he had an issue with the release and the record label having problems with the title and all that stuff, and Nas is a unique guy. So, that album, when we get to it later on a different episode, we'll kind of break it down a little bit. But for me, when you're a big fan of like an artist, it's kind of hard to pick what album you want to do from them. Mm-hmm. Because they have a lot of, especially artists like Nas, a lot of phases in his career that, that's the beauty. I love an artist that has like a lot of like, not ups and downs, but just like a lot of like variation in their career.
Yeah.
Where like, you know, they're considered the greatest ever. Then they have a period where people felt like they fell off.
Yeah.
Then they resurrect.
Yep.
Then they reinvent. They get stagnant.
Yeah.
Then they reinvent again. They concept, like, he has all this stuff in his catalog. So it's like, what era do I pick?
Yeah.
Do I pick the comeback, the reinvention, the pop era? You know, it's hard. So I stumbled. You know, the Untitled album was a good pick because it's. I re-listened to it and thought that this is probably one of his best albums that I kind of discount sometimes. I don't really listen to it very often, but so I think that's why I picked that one. So it's the material on it I really enjoy, but it's very specific. The album is very specific. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, that's me kind of going on a tangent. But aside from that, Pet sounds great. I'm going to listen to it a little bit more because I want to identify who's singing and what, and then kind of trying to hear more of the instrumental pieces that are like unique for the album. Yeah. Because I think I'm a little out of my depth to know what was unique for the time and what's standing out and what wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? Before. Mm-hmm. That's just my naivete, I think, of the music. But I'm interested in all that shit. So
cool.
But yeah. But as far as Charlie Brown Dictionary is concerned,
so I came into Jallah's office here.
Yep. And
I'm very familiar with this office. I live here, and I'm used to this bookshelf being just Berserk and a little Blue Giant, and I see new books, which that's one of my favorite things to see is new books. And there's these volumes. There's about 8 of them.
Yep.
By my count.
Yep.
Of something called the Charlie Brown Dictionary. What is this?
So. This is a unique grab. Yeah, feel free to bring one of them down. This is a unique... Oh, smooth. There's a smooth Blue Giant font. Look at how it perfectly fits.
That was good improvisation by the Blue Giant.
There you go. No, I was at the park with Luna and a friend of ours.
Classic kids. Luna, yeah.
Or a kid. Yeah, no, kids. She has 2 kids. This is not my homegirl. This is a lady that has a kid that goes to school. So anyway, we were at the park, and at the park there was, those free book, free library.
Yeah, lending library.
Yeah, like they had one at the park or next to the park or whatever. And she was looking in there I guess her son was looking in there, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to grab a book. And then I heard her say something like, Charlie Brown. And I said, what? Nani? Anytime Charlie Brown is mentioned or Snoop.
Snoop.
Yeah, Snoop. My ear will perk. So she said, Charlie Brown. I said, what? I go over there, and they had the whole catalog of Charlie Brown Dictionary in the free library. And I said, oh, these are mine.
Yoink.
Yoink.
I love these.
Yes. So I'm like, yo, these are from this is from the I believe this is from the, give me the date. Yeah, this is from the 70s.
Cool.
So 73, Charlie Brown Dictionary, A to Z.
8 volumes.
8 volumes, full color.
Full color, and honestly, I just love the fact that it has like this introduction that's like super professional and scholarly, where it's like, what is this? An explanation, it says.
Beautiful.
And if I read this as a kid, I know I would have just loved it. Mm-hmm. Like even this intro. The style of language throughout the book is simple. The expressions, the ideas, and the situations presented to explain the entries are within the range of the common experience of children. Like,
brilliant. This is why I love them, though.
Why do I love that it's like so condescending, and like a child could read that introduction,
right,
and be like, "This is awesome."
Man. Yeah, this is great.
And that they have like a bunch of different like pictures
in color,
in full color, that are like given as examples for all these different words.
Yeah.
There was one for afraid where it showed...
are these dictionary? Oh, sorry, not dictionary. So they're describing the word and then also using it in a sentence.
Yeah. And so, for example, afraid shows Snoopy lashing out at a kid and him being startled. And it says, Snoopy is afraid that the boy will take his dinner away. Snoopy is worried that his dish will be taken away. And then he barks at the boy, and for a moment, the boy is afraid. He is scared that Snoopy will bite him, but Snoopy doesn't bite. So it's like, if you're a kid, you're gonna read these books mm-hmm. and develop a greater understanding, not just of language, but also like
emotional stuff.
Yeah, multiple sides to a situation.
It's amazing.
It says by Charles M. Schulz.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if the original creator of Peanuts was actually involved in these books, because I know that he took great care to not condescend to children.
Yeah.
And he wasn't like some licensing fiend,
No. I think that has become that has become the brand's, the estate's thing, which is great for a fan like me, because I just want everything Snoop, but it dilutes.
It dilutes, but if the series is not around anymore, it's like, what else are you going to do?
Right. What can you do?
His estate wants to keep the quarterly checks or whatever coming in.
The residuals.
Yeah,
the residuals.
And the merch brings in the good money. So.
I love the merch.
Japan loves Peanuts.
Thank you. They're even a bigger fan of Charles Schulz than here in Minneapolis. And that sounds a little blasphemous, but I went there. I saw it. Yeah. Like, I noticed that I saw it in real time.
Yeah.
He's his characters are everywhere. They're kind of treated like, they're treated like a common pop, act. Like, You'll see them like pretty much anywhere there is some type of merchandise or
like mascots almost.
Yeah, they're like true mascots. Like they're there.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's cool that he had the integrity, as far as I can tell, to like say, not only are we going to put this out, but we are going to do it in an intelligent.
Yes.
And it was like he wanted to have a positive footprint on the world with the merch that did come out.
Yeah, yeah.
It reminds me of Bill Watterson, who was famously against licensing Calvin and Hobbes, and he just did the books.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
pretty cool. I love when they do that. But as a kid, I would go, I want to buy the fucking thing.
Thank you.
So there is...
It's a fine line.
Yeah. There's a fine line. And Peanuts, I think they handled it really well for the classic eras. And after the strip ended, all hands on deck. They've started to license the hell out of it.
Yeah.
You know what? They have actually started to license Godzilla a shit ton.
You've been seeing more stuff?
Yeah, it was like announced back in 2023 that Toho was basically like open to Godzilla, and their Western office in Los Angeles for Toho was like going to be pursuing marketing opportunities for Godzilla.
Okay,
and
that's smart.
I remember I went to this comic store in Iowa, and the guy at the front of the comic store at the register was like, "Oh man, I'm so excited! They announced that there's going to be like a ton of new Godzilla merch," and I was like, "Why is this guy like excited about like spending a ton of money on stuff he doesn't need?"
I know.
I'm a downer, I guess, but at the same time,
you're a realist.
Yeah, but like so.
And I'm a frugalist. I mean, not frugalist, so anti-frugalist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm very. If I like something, I have to fight not to pull the trigger on it.
Well, I mean, if you're actually gonna enjoy it, then there's nothing wrong with making a purchase.
Right.
But if you're like, this is cool, I want this, but then you haven't thought through whether you actually are going to enjoy it or not.
Right.
And you wind up
just
never
shooting at the hip.
Yeah. And I've been that guy. Like,
oh, sure.
I'm not like speaking from a place of like some guy who's never lived like that.
Sure.
Like, I've been the guy who's like, I see this book on Amazon. I haven't done my research on it, but I'm going to get it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get it and it's not what I expected. And I go, well, fuck, I just wasted $30 on that. You know?
Okay.
So, but anyway, I'm not trying to be a miser, but I have benefited from the new licensed Godzilla world. And if I was a kid, it would have been crazy because I would always be
going in on
if there was a comic store and because there were Shinders when we were growing up.
Yep.
If Godzilla was being marketed that heavy back then, my mom and dad would have been
just so crazy, like
so pissed.
Not another gun.
So right now there's like Godzilla versus Marvel. There's there's so many Godzilla comics coming out right now. I'm genuinely confused. Like I have
too much.
I have no idea how I could possibly catch up
because there's that much coming.
There's like a series called Here There Be Dragons where he's like in the Middle Ages. There's a series where he fights the Power Rangers. I have the first volume of that. And
that's sick.
There's a series where he's like going to different American cities. There's a series where he's like fighting different classic characters. Like he appears in a Great Gatsby. It's like a spoof comic or something.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I like that one from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like 3 concurrent new series that they're launching right now that are like separate timelines and new Godzilla stories. Like
interesting.
And like a new Godzilla design with green breath. But like, so when I say he's fighting Marvel, it's not like there's one series called Godzilla versus Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a Godzilla versus Spider-Man issue came out, Godzilla versus X-Men, Godzilla versus Fantastic Four. And there's more coming out. And I'm just like, I'm getting a little confused.
Yeah, they kind of stretched him a little. Quickly.
I think they're diluting him. And I think they're doing what happened to like all sorts of great franchises. And I remember I would go through the hiatuses and the gaps with no Godzilla content.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be tough. But I would feel kind of like glad for it, where it's like at least it's not being milked. But this is getting milked.
It's a little tight, yeah.
And I feel weird complaining about it because I've benefited from it. Like,
sure,
there was Godzilla coffee that came out I loved this stuff. It was so fun to make. And Godzilla hot sauce that was good. And
Godzilla hot sauce is great.
Yeah, but there's so many different comics, and there's a problem that a lot of these artists don't know how to draw Godzilla. Like,
okay, so this is what I fear.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, you're going to go on the Godzilla comic. Whereas before it used to be, Well, I think we're going to acquire the license for Godzilla. Let's see if we can find someone on the team or hire someone who
can actually do
renowned Godzilla illustrator.
Yeah.
But instead, I think they're just like throwing it to someone on the team. We're doing a million different other Godzilla comics. This one's fine. I know, man.
Because they could have done what they're doing in like a paced out, well executed way. Right now, and I point at Charles and what the difference,
Mr. Schulz.
Yeah, the difference from being like, okay, you guys want me to do a dictionary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll do a dictionary, but I'm going to do it like...
Give me time.
How I'm going to do a dictionary.
I'm going to do the pet sounds of dictionaries. He took his time and came out better than anyone could have possibly hoped.
Yeah.
And for Godzilla, I'm genuinely like... I have to just opt out, I think, because I just can't keep up with all this shit.
So the only thing... So my solution to a lot of these type of issues that I run into, being a enjoyer of hobbyist things and collector in a way, not a super collector, but more of a hobbyist. I'm a big hobbyist, so I always do. I use the internet and reviews and people to help me cut down my list of things.
Me too.
So I'll hit up like YouTube, like, yo, what's the best like top 5 of like this thing that I want?
Yeah.
And they'll be like this, and this, and then I'll be like, does anybody else like whatever? What's the list with over here?
Yeah.
And then I'll start seeing the same things, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get these 3 for sure because everyone's hype about these 3, so I'm gonna do those.
Yeah.
For sure. And then if I come around to it, I'll maybe touch some other ones. But I'm really going to only look at like the hottest ones out of this huge collective. I love research before. That's what I do a lot of research before. It's like a weird like tick or something. But I do like, I'll watch. So if I'm going to get a phone or like some techie thing, I'll probably watch like 5 to 10 reviews or like previews of the item.
Yeah.
For anticipation.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually just sensible. I think that's the right thing to do. That's like what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, instead of just buying whatever, like take your time. Mm-hmm. You don't have to make the choice today. Mm-hmm. And put stuff in your cart and see how you feel about it in a week. Mm-hmm. Seriously, like that has been a huge help for me.
That's a good trick.
Because sometimes a week comes and you actually do still want it, and you go, I've been wasting time.
All right, let's get this thing.
Let's get this thing and feel self-assured. As long as you're making confident moves in your life, that's the most important thing for me.
Truth.
It's just like, confidence is a kind of decision that you make, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, the thing about the Godzilla stuff is it's like, it would be one thing if it was like, I'll just get the trade paperback later, if it gets good reviews. Mm-hmm. But I think with this Marvel stuff, I'm just so confused because it's like several different branches coming out at the same time. And it's like, there's stuff that I literally didn't know was a thing I'm finding out about randomly. And I'm just like, I don't know if they're going to do like a trade paper pack of like Godzilla versus Spider-Man, Godzilla versus Fantastic Four, Godzilla, like all that. Mm-hmm. And there's also, by the way, Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe as its own comic. Like, I think just like fighting the Marvel.
Interesting.
Anyway, it's
a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. He's also fought DC. It's
oh wow.
And there's rules where it's like he can't lose. So
there's rules where he can't lose.
Yeah, Toho says this he cannot lose.
Yeah, see, this is
that sucks because it's a tension killer.
Thank you.
It's like
huge tension killer.
And by the way, nobody wants Godzilla to lose, but we also want to know that like
he should struggle.
He should struggle. One of the greatest moments in the Godzilla series is when in the 1984 Godzilla movie, they create a weapon that actually does defeat him for a bit. But through like bad luck and actually political tension between the United States and Russia, which could never happen.
Never.
Not anymore.
No.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Good guy. Sorry.
Good guy.
Good guy. Good guy. But I won't spoil it. Oh, jeez. I won't spoil it, but he gets revived after he's been defeated by this great weapon. And then he knocks over a whole building on the weapon. he goes completely vengeful and pissed. It's so great.
That's funny.
But anyway, it's a funny thing to complain about because when I was a kid, there was not much Godzilla stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you found it, it was like you did a happy dance with joy. And part of me is jealous of the kids that grow up nowadays and can see a Godzilla in theaters every few years. And, they have all sorts of stuff they can buy. But another part of me goes, I'm grateful for having to spend more time with the stuff I had because I knew that I wouldn't get another one for, potentially a long time. I wouldn't run into another one in the wild.
Yeah. And
I think before the internet.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Absolutely. And I think that's why you made me come to a realization, I think, is why I have some of the little tchotchkes and things that I love now, because I don't think they existed back when I was a kid. Or at least I didn't have the knowledge to know that they existed. They definitely weren't out there. So now that they are here, the kid is still like, yo, you should, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I got Hey Arnold sitting over here. I fuck with Hey Arnold. Arnold is great. It's like one of my favorite shows from the Nickelodeon era. And I just found a random bobblehead. I was like, yo, I'll get that.
It's not, to be clear, it's not a Funko.
Yeah. No, not a Funko. Just like a random bobble.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, so.
Well, on that note, I think this has been... sorry. On that note, this has been a pet sounds of an episode.
Mm-hmm, indeed.
Faced a lot of mental health issues and not very much support. I got some DMs from fans today about, is the pet sounds episode coming out tomorrow?
No.
And it's not. It is not. No. Unless I were to stay up all night editing this.
No. It's a holiday week.
Yeah.
So you're probably actually free.
Yeah, actually, I'm free. So I guess I'll do that.
Not free that way.
I'll do that.
Free in the sense that you're not obligated.
Oh, good. Okay.
To drop.
No, tomorrow. We're not going to put out an episode tomorrow.
There you go.
So we're warning you now on an episode that is coming out weeks later. And so if anyone's mad,
we told you.
We told you. We told you on the episode that came out after.
Yeah, we told you.
All kidding aside, we had too much to talk about. We didn't get to all of it, but
as things go.
We did our best, and we love you. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. And follow us on Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
And we're going to start posting clips from episodes. And,
get the clip game going.
The clip game, the clip monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Go straight to jail.
It's all about clip. It's all about shorts.
It's all about the Benjamins.
All about the Benjamins.
What'd you gasp for?
It'd be cool if we had animations of ourselves, but that would be really hard and expensive.
Yeah. But I'm developing a greater posse of animation friends, or of cartoon friends at least. So
I'm with that.
No, what we really should do, this is now a business meeting, is we should have
we're breaking away, guys.
Individual thumbnails for the episodes.
Yeah.
Right now it's just the beautiful logo.
We love our logo.
Grace. Yeah, it's a great logo. But if you're on YouTube and you see a great title, but then you see that it's the same thumbnail for each video, it's just not pleasing.
Yeah, well,
we got to figure that out, man. But for now, we're going to keep fighting and keep sliding into next week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Enjoy it while you can.
This came out after, but
people are like, "Wait a minute, what
the fuck?
Memorial?
I didn't remember that." But, thanks for listening, and next week we'll talk more about anime and occasionally squeak in pet sounds comments instead of the other way around.
There you go, reverse.
But yeah, keep sliding, my friends.
Adios.